Hi friends, my name is Sive and this is Stories in Sive. This is my booktube channel where I talk about books and other random stuff. And today's video is going to be a TBR for the month of July. July is my birthday month. On the 1st of July I turned 24, which is very exciting, and I have a lot of plans. So I had a pretty ambitious summer TBR that I'm gonna extend into August because there's no way that I'm gonna finish all of that stuff in this month of July. I didn't put a lot of work into it in June because, for those of you who do not know, I was participating in Whatever-a-thon, and because of that there were specific prompts that some of my physical TBR books didn't fit into. I did a lot of library loans, a lot of audiobook loans. This month is a refocus into my physical TBR, and there are a couple books that I'm excited to chat to you about today. So I have a lot of books that I'm currently reading at the moment, so we'll start there. There's 4. I am currently about 80% of the way through Clockwork Prince, which is the second book in the Infernal Device series. This is Cassandra Clare's second series in the Shadowhunter world. I'm enjoying it so far a lot. I picked it up the first book a month ago when I was really in the mood for this YA fantasy. It is extremely well known. If you do not know what it is for some reason, Shadowhunters is like this whole world in an alternate London. This series specifically is set in the 1800s or something like that. I don't know, it just says Victorian London, so take that as you will. Probably a very loose timeline to be able to get away with whatever dress this is. We follow our main character Tessa, who did not know that she had anything to do with this world and it was brand new to her, and she's basically swept away because a bad guy knows about her and says he created her and wants her back. And he is doing everything he can to basically kidnap her. This series is a lot more dark, a lot more grim than I was expecting from a YA series. It's also a lot wittier. It's quite funny, very clever. And I know these were the 2008, 2010, 2012 it books. And I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying the humor in this. I'm like, dang, am I immature? Anyways, I've had a great time with these and I'm not really taking them too seriously. They are love triangle, they're very tropey, there's a lot of writing in here that's this is not the best. But if you're just here for a good time, this is a great series. I definitely expect to finish this during the first few days of July. The next book I'm reading is very, very special to me. It is The River of Silver by S.A. Chakraborty. If you do not know, I'm a big fan of the Daevabad trilogy, and this is a proof, an arc that I won in a giveaway, which was exciting, on her Instagram. And it was sent to me a couple of, probably a month and a half ago now, and I've been steadily reading this. It's a collection of short stories that are set in Daevabad, and we follow a number of not main characters. In the Daevabad trilogy, there are 3 main perspectives. We do hear from one of them in this book, but mainly we are focusing on people who didn't get a voice in the original trilogy. This has been extremely special and extremely heartbreaking for me to go through. The Daevabad trilogy is my favorite because it evokes very heavy emotion in me, and watching these characters and giving more context to what they were going through during that really hard time, or this one battle, or this one scene, has just been I want to reread the whole trilogy again with the context of knowing what I know now. So I've been taking this slow so far, but I do very much anticipate finishing this in the month of July. And the last book is Echoes and Empires by Morgan Rhodes, and I picked this book up as a Sive's birthday book for myself. It's a YA fantasy, it's a 2022 release, and we follow our main character Joss, or Jocelyn, as she lives in a society that basically has banned magic. Magic is illegal, and she is at an event, at an art display event. What are those called? Art display. Exhibition. Joss is at an exhibition and she stumbles across a thief who's trying to steal something, and he accidentally trips and falls and very dramatically spills this magic all over her. And now he wants the magic back from her that he was trying to steal, but she accidentally got infected, and she wants it out of her because it's illegal, and she doesn't want to get in trouble, and she wants to go back to her normal life because she's this hoity-toity person in society with the bling and the shopping and everything like that. This is gonna be a fantasy romance, I think, and I wanted something light and very easy to get through. I sat down and read the first 70 pages, and I'm enjoying it a lot-ish. It's fine. It's good. The last book that I'm currently reading, I promise there's only 4, is QBQ. Question Behind the Question by Mr. John Miller. And this is a book that I'm actually reading for work. I'm going through it with my like team to basically analyze productivity and talk about like team building and also like personal. This book hits a lot on like personal ownership. So there's the question behind the question of what are helpful questions to do in a moment, like how can you create accountability and ownership in yourself rather than dictating to others what like you don't feel like doing or what you're not hired to do or not responsible to do. It's been an interesting read. I don't really know my full thoughts about it right now. I don't really want to comment on it because I'm not liking it a whole lot at the moment, but I don't want to prejudge a book. I'm like 1/3 through it. So yeah, that's this. So because I'm currently reading 4 whole things right now, I like know that I can finish all of this, but it does make me a little bit nervous to build like a large TBR because my reading pace is slowing down. In April and May, I read like the least amount of books I've ever read in a month for like 2 years. And then in June, because of whatever-thon, I spiked back up to the normal like 8 to 10. I read 10, but 8 to 10 is normally where I was sitting. But I only read 6 books in like April and May, I think, or maybe 5 in April. So I have been averaging about a book and a half, a book and 1/4 a week. And so there's already 4 books on this, but I'm so close to finishing Clockwork Prince, and I really feel like QBQ is gonna go by super fast. So yeah, I do feel like these are doable. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a lot. Not a lot. I'll be ambitious, but not unrealistic. How about that? A book that I am going to read this summer is An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. And the reason why I say it that way is because I've had this book for 7 months. I got it for Christmas this past year, and it is on my 22 books for 2022. This is a sci-fi. I have recently been getting into sci-fi, if you've been following my channel, which is very exciting. Opens up a brand new world for me. This is it's set in space, and it is basically about this character Aster. Yes, Aster. And Aster lives in this like shuttle that is segregated and organized basically like a parallel to the antebellum South. And so this book has a sci-fi and speculative angle on explorations of racism and racial divide, classism, sexism, I believe. Aster lives in the low-deck slums of the HSS Matilda, a space vessel organized much like the antebellum South. For generations, Matilda has ferried the last of humanity to a mythical promised land. On its way, the ship's leaders have imposed harsh moral restrictions and deep indignities on dark-skinned sharecroppers like Aster. Embroiled in a grudge with a brutal overseer, Aster learns there may be a way to improve her lot if she's willing to sow the seeds of civil war. So this basically just sounds like awesome and a book that I want to read. I've read 2 of River Solomon's books before and very much enjoy their writing. Sorrowland, which came out in 2021, was one of my favorite books of the year. In my top favorite horrors like of all time. It was impeccable. So yeah, I've been very excited for this book for a good couple months, and I really just need to get to it, and it is definitely on my TBR for July. The next book I'm putting on my TBR is going to be a bell hooks collection of poetry. This is called When Angels Speak of Love. This is going to be my first bell hooks engaging with any of her literature. She is an icon, like extremely well known, and I want to get into her backlist and kind of get to know some of her feminist literature. She's a well-known Black feminist writer, and I want to be an audience of that. I want to ingest that. I'm also doing summer reading at my library, and one of the prompts is to read a poetry collection. I do not have the largest experience with poetry. However, it's something that I've read less than like 10 collections, but like more than 5. So I'm trying to get into it more, and I feel like this would be a great place to start with her works. And if you have ever read her before and would like to recommend me the next place to go after I finish this collection, please drop it in the comments. I would be very curious for your recommendation. Next, I'm going to throw in a fun graphic novel. This is Graceling by Kristen Cashore. If you are unfamiliar, there's a YA fantasy series written by Kristen Cashore called Graceling, and this is following the first book plot-wise in graphic novel format. And it's been a little while since I've read a graphic novel, probably since like, I think maybe March, and I want to get back into this story. I read this for the first time maybe a little less than 2 years ago, and I haven't engaged with it since, so I'm definitely very curious to pick this up. I saw it at the library and I just wanted to try it. Next, I want to read a Brandon Sanderson. I know what you're thinking. Listen, I know this is a massive book, seriously, but hear me out. So this is a collection of novellas that are within the Skyward series, and there are two, Read On and Sunreach. Yep, Read On and Sunreach, that are set before the third book. So I've read the first two in the series, and then these two novellas go in between the second and the third book. And then the third novella, this is a collection of 3, if you didn't get it by the 3 people on the front, is set after the third book. So I have set myself up to be ready to dive into Cytonic. I don't know if it will be more confusing to show you or less, but Cytonic is the third book. So I'm gonna read the 2 novellas that are in between the second and the third book. If I only get to 1, that is okay. I will definitely be reading Sunreach, which I'm very excited about. The series is majority written from one perspective, and her name is Spenza, or Spin. And there are some like that is not written from any perspective. It's like a third person that's like, oh, this thing was happening. But I'm really excited to hear from these 2 characters. Sunreach is written from this character. Her call sign is FM, and essentially she is a flight pilot next to Spin. And then Sunreach is written from, actually, if I tell you the character, that's a spoiler for the series, so I won't do that. So I will definitely be reading Sunreach in July. So friends, that is it. Those are going to be the books that I read in July. Please let me know what your reading plans are this month. How is your summer reading going? Are you having a good time? If you have read or can recommend any books that are on my list, let me know which ones to bump up to the top. And other than that, look at this stack. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy other bookish content like this, feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you. And other than that, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!